So the if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm referring to the theme for the Met Gala, which is Black Dandyism, and it is like an exploration of Black men's fashion, like their contribution to the fashion industry. And the interesting thing about it is that it really isn't just about Black men, but there are a lot of Black men who are like the co-chairs of the Met Gala this year. And that basically means that they, like, is giving board of directors, like they're out here making some decisions. So Coleman Domingo is one of the people that's a co-chair, and then ASAP Rocky is another co-chair. And when you look at their style, you understand why they, like, it just makes sense. I think also Pharrell's on it as well. And so the idea for Black dandyism, yeah, you see the dandelion, you see the dandelion. I'm gonna get into that in a second. So I think part of the reason why is like I want more of like my shoulders to show. I don't really want it to be like all closed and buttoned up. Anyway, so the concept for the Met Gala is inspired by Black dandyism, which is basically like impeccably dressed men, like people who wear like clothes that are tailored. They dress up. They have like this air to them that kind of gives elegance, is refined, but it also speaks to the way that we bring our culture into it as Black people. And so something like this chain, even if I had like a gold, like a different kind of gold chain that maybe was thicker, the earrings, the gold earrings, I thought about putting on my bamboo earrings. I feel like that would have really like gave like a little bit of the hip hop, Black culture, American culture, dandyism, but I didn't want to wear them because I felt like they were going to be too big. I didn't want a lot of stuff around my neck. So it didn't make the cut this time around. But just and no, I'm gonna come up with an outfit where I can wear the hoops. Okay. The bamboo hoops got to be a part of they got to be a part of the conversation. But even like down to the jewelry, the gold bangles, like this is what I was going for. Yes, and so the concept for Black dandyism goes back to I want to say like maybe like the 20s, 1920s, 30s, actually a little bit earlier than that. Especially around the time of like the Gilded Age, and even like a little bit prior to that, where Black people were dressing in a way that shows like we first of all are humans. We are more than just entertainers. We are more than just enslaved people. We are people who deserve to be respected. We are people who have status. We are people who are worthy to be seen and treated like the royalty that we are, like the importance that we are. And so it was kind of a way to armor ourselves, which is why I love the fact that Alyssa brought up armor, and it like kind of like protecting you, but also like putting people on alert, like putting them on notice, like, nah, you felt a way about me, or you see my color, you see who I am, and you automatically make assumptions about me. But let me show you, let me flip that on his head. Let me show you who I really am and what I'm really about. And so that's the feeling that Black dandyism gives, and the contribution that it has made to fashion globally. This is not just America. This is not just the UK. It's not just London. It is across the board around the world. How has Black culture, how have Black people impacted fashion? And so the fact that that's being celebrated this year at the Met Gala is one of the biggest reasons why I care now. Like, usually I don't really care about the Met Gala. And I feel like there's like this expectation that you're supposed to care because like you love fashion and you're into this and you're into that. And I'm not the most fashion person, if that makes sense, y'all. Like, I'm not the most fashion person. I love fashion, and I love what it has allowed me do, and how it's allowed me to express myself, and how it has given me a space to be creative and to be me. And I love like the essence of what fashion represents, but I'm also not the person who's just so deeply entrenched in it that I like eat, sleep, and breathe fashion. Like I've never been that person. Um and so I've always had interests that kind of like spanned across the board, you know what I'm saying? And so it was never a space where I could just fully give my all to just fashion, you know? So I kind of have to like step out of it and be and exist in other spaces. But I still love fashion down. And the fact that this is the theme for the Met Gala this year, and seeing how even people who don't really typically care about fashion, or who would not be considered the most like fashion oriented person, fashion forward person, they're even talking about this theme for the Met Gala because, again, like I just think that it speaks to how important we are to the global culture. Like, well, black people are so dope. Like, and that's just like full stop. Like, I don't even have to like. What do you say after that? Like, we're dope. And so just seeing how there is being like being acknowledged for what it is that we really brought to the world, and almost kind of like y'all can't gaslight us now. Y'all can't gaslight us. Like you can't put some little bantu knots in your head and call them mini buns and act like y'all ain't get that from black people. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember when they was doing the mini buns? I think it was like one of the Kardashians, and they had bantu knots in their head and they was calling them mini buns. I still feel a way about that. I haven't forgiven them for that, clearly, because that's wild to me. That's wild to me. But the reason why I decided to go with this full look, and I'll do like a full like utada, y'all. I'll do a separate video and show my full utada. But the reason why I'm wearing it with this peak of yellow is because I am co-hosting an event with Kayla the Angel. We're going to have our first socially awkward hour of the year. We're going to have a meetup at Busboys and Poets. And the theme for our meetup is going to be dandelions. And so it is a blend of both like the Black dandyism and the idea of having like tailored pieces, dressed into the nines, looking impeccable, looking exquisite, like being literally like wearing something that you would describe as exquisite and elegant, but then also having like that peak of spring, like that pop of spring with the yellows and the whites and the greens, like that deep like hunter green. And so the my outfit today is a merge of both of those worlds. So you got the tailored look, and then you also have the dandelion here with the yellow. And I also have on, you can't see it, but it's like a checker. That's not checkered. What's this? A plaid skirt on, and it's got red, green, it's got yellow stripes, and it's got white stripes. So it's literally like a blend of both worlds. Boxer braid. They called them boxer braids, Adrian. Oh my goodness. Don't make me mad. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Oh wait, I think I do remember that actually. Huh. So it is a celebration. It is a celebration of those bringing those different worlds together. I love the fact that Kayla came up with the play on words with the dandelions, and how it kind of represents her personality as well. Like I feel like yellow just like it describes you as a person. So I'm excited about it. The idea for this meetup, so that you know, especially if you've never heard of Socially Awkward Hour, it is something that I started last year. And I started it because I was going to these networking events and I was going to these influencer events, and I was realizing how awkward I felt going out to these places. And the thing that's always been so interesting is that I love people. Like I love hanging out with people. I love being around people. Even though I can be more like to myself with certain things or at certain times. I enjoy just being around people, even if I'm not talking to them. I just love being around people. It makes me feel so happy and excited. And but when I go to these events, I don't feel like I always feel like that person. Like I don't always feel like a social person. I don't always feel like a confident person. I don't always feel like somebody who's interesting to people. And they're also, especially depending on the crowd that's there, sometimes I feel like I don't measure up to the other people that are there. And so I started to realize that feeling that I had, but then once I started to get outside of myself and start talking to people and interacting with people, I was like, no, people like me. Like I'm dope. And even if I don't always feel like that in the moment, have amazing connections with people online where it is very clear that I'm somebody. Like I'm somebody, and so how can I be this person online, but then not feel like that same person in person, And so I was always feeling like that tension. And so I started thinking about how interesting it is to be socially awkward, but also be somebody that likes people. And how do you like reconcile that? How do you navigate that? And so I came up with this idea for a socially awkward hour. And so it's a play on a social hour, and also socially awkward. Like it was genius, y'all. It was genius. Like I can't even front. When it came to me, I was like, oh, that's the one. That's the one. And when I put the idea out there, then I started realizing, oh, no, people feel this. Like they literally feel me on this. And I got the courage to finally host my first one. And so Kayla was actually one of the attendees when I did it last year in June. And so the fact that I knew when she was at the event that we were going to do something together. I was like, we got to do something like this. And even when I was planning it, I told her about it. And she was like, oh, let me know if you need any help. Like, I would love to be able to support you, this, and that. But at that time, I just needed to try it first and see how I felt even doing it in the first place. And so now we're bringing it back around. And this time we're going to co host it. And the vision that we had for it is that it would be a gathering of people, whether that's men or women, a gathering of people who know that they are meant to do some really amazing things. Like there are people who are pursuing being content creators. There are people who are pursuing entrepreneurship. There are people who want to move up in their career. There are people who are considering being on camera in some sense, whether that's with social media, whether that's literally on TV and movies. Maybe they are people that want to become public speakers. They want to host workshops. They want to be teachers. They just want to host events. There are people who know that they are ready to take that next step and to become that person, but they also still feel some of that tension that I was feeling, where it's like, am I really qualified to do this? Is it the right time? Should I do it? How do I do it? And most importantly, knowing that a major part of all of that is building relationships and meeting people, putting yourself out there. And so, what better way to start doing that and start to practice that than in a space where it's already understood? Like we all already know up front, we're all a little awkward, but I like you. You know, I like people. It's just I'm figuring out how to be confident in this space. Whether you're somebody who really doesn't like small talk, hello, you are in good company. I absolutely cannot stand small talk. I am getting a little bit better at it, but it's still a very strong part of me that wants to ask you, what are your deepest fears? Like out the gate. Like your name, that's cool. Your favorite color, ah, but like what keeps you up at night? You know, like let's talk about that. Let's talk about something intense. You know, I don't know what it is, but I that's like my deepest desire. And so I think that is incredible to be able to have a space where we can do that. We can be that person and really practice being confident. And I want to make sure that I'm like phrasing this well. I think that was our first time officially meeting too. Yeah, it was our first time officially meeting, Kayla. You oh, that's how you are too, Adrian. Yeah, like I just go straight, let's get straight into it. So I do want to make sure that I am not presenting this as something where the people that you meet aren't going to also be good connections, because what one thing that I think also kind of falls in that same space of being more reserved or maybe more introverted, maybe even shy, is that you actually find that those are some of the most interesting people, and they're some of the most connected people. They're some of the most resourceful people. But the biggest problem that they have is that they won't tell you that. I feel like I'm in somebody's business right now, and I will not apologize for it because you need to hear this. I will not apologize. But some of the most incredible, interesting, amazing people are some of the most quiet people, and you will just never know this about them. And to a certain extent, they also don't see themselves that way. And so my goal is to bring more of those kind of people together, and to give us a space where we can exist as those people and really showing up and leaving an event where you feel like I put my best foot forward. Like I really made some amazing connections. I really put myself out there and showed the best of myself. Like I want people to leave this feeling proud and feeling excited and feeling hopeful and looking for the next one. Like I want them to be like, I can't wait to do this again. And I want to be able to curate spaces like that. And so with this next socially awkward hour, the dandelion theme, I don't know what we're gonna call it, Kayla. I don't know if we're just gonna call it socially awkward. I don't know. We'll talk about that on the back end. Anyway, there's gonna be a theme though, and I feel like even just having the color, I feel like even just having the color is going to automatically make it easier for us to like really stand out and put ourselves out there. Ma'am, please. I know, Kayla. I know. I was talking about somebody. Let me look up something. Let me get something real fast. Okay. So I have my book. You can see it's back there. Eh, my book back there. I have the Own Your Style guide. And so The Own Your Style guide, I created that guide to help people to basically have a makeover in a book, right? Like, I want people to be able to experience a transformation in their style, a transformation in themselves. I want them to be more confident. I want them to be more courageous and creative when it comes to how they show up, how they dress, and how they express themselves, right? And so, one thing that I've been doing, being seen, felt, and connected with authentically. Yes. Yes, Adrian, that's exactly what I want. And so, one of the things that I have been doing is really digging into the psychology of fashion. And so, that brings me to this book that I've been reading. And I've been doing like a combo. So, I've been reading this book, and then I've been using the Own Your Style journal to basically document my own fashion evolution, my own style evolution, because I feel like style is continuously evolving. It's not always in a space where it's evolving, but I think that I'm in a space currently where I am making some shifts and some changes even to my own personal style. And so this book is written by Shakayla Forbes Bell, who I have also been stalking for a very long time. I've been stalking her for a long time, and I've always admired her commitment to this concept of fashion psychology, which you're probably hearing me say that, and you're like, I didn't even know that was a thing. It is very much so a thing. There is a lot more that goes into why we wear what we wear, how we dress, how we feel when we dress. There's so many interesting things, so many interesting aspects to fashion that we don't even see, like that we don't even recognize. And that's something that is always been very interesting to me. Honestly, if I ever pursued a degree, like, yeah, if I ever decided that I wanted to finish college, because y'all know I didn't finish. I got up to my senior year and I couldn't afford to go back. And I was like, well, I don't need it now. So I have never gone back. But if I ever did decide I wanted to go back and study anything, it would probably be fashion psychology, because I am so enamored and just like nerd out about why people wear what they wear. Like, I'm always asking why. Why do you feel like that? Why did you do that? Why did you make that choice? And a lot of times what I find is that people don't really know how to explain that in the first place. Like, they don't really know how to put it into words. So I want to be able to help you. And so I brought this book out because one of the things that I have been kind of reading at this point in the book is about color, right? And so I think to a certain extent, we all kind of have like a very like a good working understanding of the psychology of colors. And even people who didn't do anything design related, we still have our own associations with different colors, and those associations for the most part are universal, right? Like, we all have universal effects to colors, and those different effects, vary depending on what the color is, right? And so the color yellow, these are the best times to wear yellow. So I'm trying to think of how much of this I want to read. So, okay, I'll kind of go through, like, I'll give like some highlights from it. Okay. So, the color yellow is generally considered a happy color, and people associate it with cheerful objects like sunshine and sunflowers. When you're feeling shy, Kayla, I'm about to blow your mind. Okay, when you're feeling shy or have to go to an event and meet a bunch of new people, it can often be easier to wear a conversation starter rather than trying to start one yourself. If that's what you're aiming for, then try wearing yellow. Did you hear that? If you are trying to put yourself out there, you wear the color yellow. mind blown. My mind is blown. So despite the positive associations with color, um it's still a marmite color, which is not important right now. But when you're wearing yellow, you have to own it, or the color will own you. So it's one of those colors that can easily overpower you if you don't make it your own, add your own twist, your own flavor, your own style to it. Clock it. Clock it. I got it, Kayla. Clock it. Oh man. That's crazy. So there's also like some negative ones too. There's always going to be positive and negative associations with the color. In certain cases, yellow can cause people to experience negative emotions like frustration or annoyance. And people tend to be more frustrated in yellow rooms, while overexposure to the color can make some people lose track of time. And so it is one of the colors that it's brighter to us because of how much light it attracts, which makes it more visible to us. So that can sometimes be a lot if you are somebody who especially is like sensitive to senses, like you're hypersensitive. So there is like, I guess there's basically to say that there is a balance to it, which kind of goes back to owning it, right? The alignment, yeah. You ain't even know, but you knew. You ain't know, but you knew. And that was why when you said it, I was like, yes. Yes, I'm all the way here for it. So, the best times to wear yellow: when you want to make a memorable first impression, when you want to get noticed, when you want to encourage a more positive vibe. Y'all, that is crazy. So I love that. I love that that's the color that we are like going with. I love that it's the one that came to your mind. I am so excited for it. And so that just made me feel so excited. I could when I read that I couldn't wait. I could not wait. Let's see. You said, I love the depth. That's what attracted me to your videos, your intimacy with the subject matter, and passion for how it connects to our desire to be truly seen personally in business and culture. Oh, thank you, Adrian. I, you know, comments like that never get old to me because there is something so special about people seeing you, like, and people seeing what it is that you are also trying to do, or I mean it's what you're doing, but really seeing it beyond the surface, and they understand it on a deeper level, because that is for the people who can relate to. Yeah, bar for bar. They're taking it bar for bar. For the people that can relate to being like the deep thinker, and I'm using that with quotation marks because sometimes it can be used as like a slight against us. So people who are used to being the deep thinker, or going too far into it, or and making it deeper than what it is, there is something so special and so affirming when you show up as that person and people still get it. And there's like a lot of times where I do have to still kind of keep things closer to the surface, and and really meet people where they are, not because they're not capable of thinking deeper, but oftentimes we're not always thinking that deep, and we're not always thinking that deeply about everything. I think that honestly, we all have the capacity to be deep thinkers, and I think many of us are. However, we're deep thinkers about the things that we really care about. Like, it's deep when it's deep, about our passions. And if it's not something that we're necessarily passionate about, but it is something that we do have to participate in, like fashion, then it is helpful when you start to connect with a person who also thinks deeply about this thing and is willing to take it beyond the surface, but they're also making it accessible to you, you know? So I really appreciate that. Yes. Are you excited for the flyer? Y'all let me know if my audio is okay. I see I'm a little choppy. I think it's better now. I should have put my headphones in, but actually no, that'll probably mess me up. I think that'd be too much feedback. Anyway, I really appreciate that, Adrian. I really do. Thank you. And I'm really excited about this journey that I'm on and this one that I'm taking people on as well, because let me give y'all like a little update, so to speak. So I attended a workshop last Friday, and it was called The Rich One. And in this workshop, it was a sales workshop that was designed for the participants to find their rich one, right? What is that service, that product that you have that you know if you gave it your all, it would make you a lot of money. And I know sometimes like talking about money is like a little like it can feel a little sleazy or salesy or whatever. But if you're running a business, you got to talk about the money, right? And I think that sometimes we use that almost like a cop out to diminish what we deep down know we should be getting, we should be earning. And so I have a particular service that I wanted to get more sales on, and it's the brand style labs. And I don't know if y'all remember when I introduced the brand style labs a few months ago when I was doing the brand personality series, right? And if you remember, I talked about it here and there, but I really didn't talk about it consistently. And the reason why is because to be honest with y'all, it was intimidating to talk about it and promote it because of how much I know I enjoy doing it and the fear of it not being booked, like people not booking it, like almost kind of like fearing the rejection of it. And so because of that fear, I was really kind of like half-heartedly promoting it, half-heartedly talking about it. But if I am honest, that is the thing that if I had to do one thing in my business every day, that's what I would want to do. I would want to talk about your content. I would want to talk about your brand. I would want to strategize what's our next event. What do you need? A brand photo shoot? What is a photo shoot going to look like? What are you wearing to this speaking engagement? What are the things that you're feeling as you are creating content that you're noticing are barriers? How can we work through that? What does that look like? What is that strategy? And though, like having those types of conversations and doing that kind of work is what I could do all day every day, hands down. Like I love doing that work. And the thing about branding, especially branding, and even fashion, is that those can kind of come across as like luxury, luxury purchases. And in reality, it really is not about the luxury of it, but it is more so about what it takes you to, like what level it takes you to, right? Like where you are and what great branding can do to take you even further. And it's something that it typically gets kind of like put on the back burner by some people, and there are some people who understand it, but those people may already have branding people, right? So like it was a very I was really psyching myself out of that whole thing. And honestly, I feel like I was overthinking it to the point where I was not talking about it like I knew that I could because of that fear. So when we had the workshop and she was asking us these questions, that was one of the first questions that she asked. She's like, what is your rich one? What is that one thing that you could do that you know is really you love doing it, it is in alignment with who you are, and you know that it can make you a lot of money. And so that was my one. And so during the workshop, she asked so many amazing questions. The person who was hosting the workshop, her name is Tamasha, and I will also tag I'll tag her socials in the description box after I upload this video. And so y'all can check her out for yourselves. But she is incredible. I don't know how I came across her profile the first time, but I've been following her for a minute. And so this was her first workshop this year. And so when I was listening to her talk about it, I was like, girl, where do I sign up? Just go ahead, take my money, because whatever it is you're talking about, I need some of that. So she was talking about some of the different things that we feel, like some of the sensations that we experience when it comes to selling, especially as women, and how our default can be to give stuff away. All right. I don't if I'm talking about you, just know there ain't no smoke. I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know what she has said. Okay. All right. Don't come for the messenger. But our default is to give a lot of way, to give way more than what we have and what we know we deserve to be compensated. We are typically uncomfortable when it comes to selling, whether that's having a sales call, whether that is DMing people, following up with people who have expressed interest in our services, whether that is in talking about our services adequately and not trying to change it up and panic when you get on the call. I'm talking about myself. That has happened multiple times to me. And I actually wrote a blog post about it and talked about how a $200 service ended up costing me way more in the long run. And it's you got to read it to get all the details, all the juicy pieces and bits that's in there. But long story short, it basically is me talking about my experience with a service that was really like a $1,500 service, minimum $1,500 service. And I was doing it for $200 because I panicked. I panicked on a sales call. And so I really resonated with so much of what she was saying in the call, and how it was also interesting how there was like one subtle shift. There was one subtle thing that she said to me that really made me like click with it and run with it, which is going to all tie into the socially awkward hour. And I'm gonna make it all make sense for y'all. So when she at towards the end of the workshop, we had like hot seat coaching. And if you're not familiar with hot seat coaching, that's basically where you have a group of people, and the host or the coach in the workshop calls out people, or people raise their hand and they get like some quick like speed coaching in the moment. What's your question? Let's work out an answer. And so it moves pretty quickly. So during my time in the hot seat, I asked her about the brand Style Labs. And I basically told her that my biggest fear in promoting it is that I don't know if the person that needs this is currently in my audience. And so when I said that, it was so interesting because here is where like it really gets how like we psych ourselves out. So um I'm sorry y'all, I have to illustrate how intense this session is so that you can understand how uncomfortable it was to talk about this. So I told y'all that it was hot seat coaching, and you're either you raise your hand and you go or you get called out. And so I was not the first person. There was actually somebody before me, right? And so this person before me, she was talking about her service. And as she was talking about the service, and I was like looking at Tamasha, she was listening, and she was like, hold up, wait. I am so confused. She was like, I am so confused about this offer. And so her and the woman that was there, they were kind of like, having like a little back and forth, not in an argument, but just like she was asking her some questions. And so they were like talking through it so that she could get some clarity. And she was basically telling her, like, part of the reason why you're having a hard time selling this is because as a consumer, I'm confused. And her way of speaking is like very direct, is very straight to the point, and it can come off abrasive depending on the kind of person that you are. And I don't always, well, no, I have a weird relationship with feedback. So sometimes the way that I respond to feedback, it comes across to people like I'm not good at accepting it, especially when I get frustrated by it or I feel emotional about it. But I actually do a really good job taking feedback, but it also has to like make sense to me, and I also got to be in a place where I want to receive it. So I can be a little weird when it comes to feedback, but I don't mind when somebody is very direct with me, because then that helps me to understand it better. If I feel like you're adding too many words to it or you're like dancing around it, that is going to confuse me. And so I usually do pretty good with just like direct, this is what's happening. And however I feel about it, you just let me feel my feelings. Okay. Like, I heard you, I'm processing it. We'll see what happens with what you told me. And so, but anyway, I'm sitting here listening to her like not like rip her thing apart, but like she really was like going in. And so I'm like, bruh, let me look through this offer real fast and make sure I'm not confusing people. So now I'm wondering, like, okay, is that the problem? Am I confusing people? Like this, and that. So I told her, it was my turn next. So I tell her mine, and I tell her about the brand style lab. And so I let her know that it's a intake, there's like an intake call, like a strategy call that we have, and then there is a content session that we have, and I also help you with your brand, so your brand profile, so everything down to your look, maybe like the color of your website, your messaging, your content strategy, what platforms you should be on, XYZ. Like, those are the things that we cover. And so we have that initial session, we have the strategy session, and then you also have me for 30 days in your back pocket to work through the experience and see how it works, all that good stuff, right? So I was telling her the brand style lab, and so she was nailing it down. And she was like, okay, this, and this. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. And so I was like, so it is clear. You didn't realize I help with messaging. See, then that's why I got to start talking about this stuff more, so you know what actually happens in it. So I'm telling her, I'm giving her like the rundown of it, and she's like, "Yeah, no, that's very clear. I understand that. That's pretty, run of the mill, typical for branding." And I told her the price point. The price point is 1,500, and so she was like, "And that's actually like that price point makes sense. I've actually seen it for like 2-3 times more." So that actually kind of like that made me think like, oh, okay, so I'm still on the low end with this. Got it. So she was like, everything from the product description and the pricing was good. It made sense. So that wasn't my problem. So then she was like, okay, so what is the problem? Like, what is it that you need help with? And so I told her that I was worried that the people that I want to attract with this aren't in my audience currently. And so she was like asking me some questions, and she broke down this like really dope concept, which I'll share with y'all maybe like after I get through with the story. I'll tell y'all what she told me about that, because it was actually really interesting. But so she told me, she gave me that advice about like how to think about your audience and their journey and where they are and how to market to them. And then she asked me what was I like previously charging for them, right? And so these sessions previously, y'all, I was doing all of this work for the most that I got paid for it was like 450, 475, right? Nowhere near the 1500 I should have been charging for it. And so I was telling her that the clients that I had previously for this service were that's what they were paying, right? So if that's what they're used to paying, are those same people in my audience already? It's very clear for the right person, just knowing more of the benefits, like how and what it is that you, yeah. So when I was explaining that to her, and she was asking me, do I explain more of the benefits or the outcome? And that was where that was what opened my mind. That was what really like clicked for me. And so she was when she asked me that, I typically talk more about the outcome than I do the benefits. So I knew that much. Like I knew that whatever my problem was, it wasn't a big problem, but it was something that it just wasn't clear enough to me. So when she said that, I was like, yeah, I mean, I talk about the benefits, but I really do talk more about the transformation. And because I know that people don't really care about the benefits or the features of it, they care more about what is this going to do for me. So I understand that, like I have that understanding as it pertains to messaging. And so she asked me something else, and it made me realize that I needed to go deeper in what it was that I was talking about. I needed to explain the transformation in a deeper way. And so the transformation that I was selling was much more surface level, like having enough content to post for a month, right? Which is, I mean, great, but there are a lot of people that are doing that too. Or speaking to helping people to unlock their voice and to use their voice and to be more courageous when they speak, to speak with more authority. And that was also a good transformation that I think was definitely like speaking to people, but it still wasn't going deep enough, because she asked me, you want them to experience, you want them to speak with more authority to get what kind of opportunities? And that's when I was like, wait a minute, that's what was missing. That's what I was not doing. That's what was not clicking, Stephen. That was what I needed. And so when she said that, I was like, oh wait, that actually does help, because then it made me start to think, oh, I have helped people to get booked for speaking engagements. I've helped people show up so that it be more authoritative, and they lead to them getting to host workshops. I've helped people to become guests on podcasts and on in different platforms. I've helped people to literally take their voice, use their authority to get those kinds of opportunities. And that for me was also what I wanted for myself. Like I wanted to be able to have more times where I was a speaker, where I was a teacher or a trainer or a strategist, where I was a podcast guest on TV shows, on movies. I was literally in a documentary, which I always forget I was like literally in a documentary. And so I'm thinking about all of these different things that I have done for myself and what I've also helped other people do. And I was like, duh, that's what they want. That's what they want. That's the desire that they have. They want to be able to be in the spaces where they can help people in this way. And so when she said that, I was like, that was like the piece that was missing. That was that little piece. And after the workshop was over, she checked in and she asked how our experience was, what we were working on now, if we were working on anything, and just checking in basically to see how things were going post workshop. And I actually told her that I feel like I was in your workshop just to get that one piece right there. Like that one piece unlocked something in me that I felt like I had started to get away from, not intentionally, but because I feel like it's just easy to like it's easy to kind of like drift away from the direction that you were going in, especially when it comes to you maybe getting new opportunities that you weren't even expecting, but they're good opportunities, but you weren't prepared for that, right? Or not necessarily you weren't prepared, but you weren't expecting that. Or you try something and you're realizing, this is not really working, what needs to get tweaked, and maybe the thing that you tweak wasn't the problem, you tweaked the wrong thing, right? Like it's so easy to get off base, even if you're just slightly off, like even if it's just like you're there but you're kind of like leaning to the right a little bit, right? And then getting back on track, that's sometimes what you just need to keep going and see the opportunities that are before you. So when she said that, I was like, oh my goodness, I got this client, I got this experience, I did this, I did that. That was actually what inspired me, Kayla, in case you were wondering. That was what inspired me to reach out to you about doing I don't remember if that was before or after. So let me not say it inspired, but it did excite me. I feel like it happened around the same time, but anyway, it excited me because that's what I'm doing with you with this socially awkward hour and co-hosting it with you. I'm giving you the opportunity. Mm, I'm struggling with using that language, but I'll use that for now. You know my heart on this, but I'm giving you the opportunity to experience the things that it is that you really want to do. You want to be able to host these events more. You want to be able to be in front of people, work with people, be hands on. I remember that being one of the first things that you said that stood out to me when we initially met, about your desires to work with people and mentor them and coach them. Like that's this kind of space you want to be in, and you don't have to wait years before you start doing it. You can start experimenting with what it looks like to do that now, and it doesn't have to be in the traditional way. It doesn't have to be, okay, they signed up for this class or this course and they do this and then they get this takeaway. That may not be your thing. Your way of coaching, your way of mentoring people may be more experiential. It may be more doing different activities that also is meaningful activities that speak to something deeper in people. You just never really know where your creativity can take you and how unconventional it might be, but it still speaks to exactly what your heart desires to do. And so I'm looking at all of these different instances. Even my friend Cardasha, she's one of like my very first style clients. Actually, we worked together years ago for the first time. And when we first met, I told her, I was like, you're an influencer. And she was like, I am not. That was the first thing that she was like, mm-mm, not feeling it. I feel like you are thinking of the wrong person. But when I saw her, I literally saw an influencer. And recently, this past February, I think it was February, she had her first speaking engagement. She was brought in to be a speaker at a conference. And I'm like, I'm not surprised by it at all, but I was like, I saw it. I saw it. I didn't know what it was gonna look like, but I knew you was gonna do it. Like I knew that this is you had the capacity for this. And I'm sitting here thinking about every person that I've worked with, every client that I've had. That is the path that all of them have taken, whether that's virtually, whether that is in person, whether that's in speaking, whether that's in on TV shows. Like I said, they are the face. They are using their voice. They have a mission, they have an ethos, they have a message that they need to get out into the world, and these are the ways in which they have to do it, or they desire to do it, that is in alignment with who they are. And the biggest thing, the biggest barrier is that they have to start showing up as that person first, whether that's visually and how they dress, how they speak, what kind of content they make, whether that is literally like audibly, like using their voice more as opposed to using trending audio all the time in their content, or maybe not speaking on things that they really do care about. That is what I help them to do. And I help them to do it in a way that feels real to them, that feels like them without having to compromise who they are. So y'all hear the passion. Y'all hear the passion. You got to think outside the box. Yes. And that's what makes me so excited about this first socially awkward hour, is that is still in the forefront of my mind, not the back. It's in the forefront. It's up here, whatever this is called, whatever this is, whatever lobe this is, it's up in there. Okay. And so it's amazing because it's gonna be twofold, because on one hand, we have Kayla, who is co-hosting with me, who is going to be a host in her first event as an entrepreneur. And then we have the attendees that are coming, who all have their own dreams and ambitions, but we're all in a similar space. We're all in alignment in terms of what we want, like that deeper desire that we have to be seen, but visible with a purpose, seen with a purpose. Like we have a mission. We're not just here to be pretty. We're not just here to be cute, even though we're going to be that. We're going to be that. But we also have something that we need to share with the world. We have purpose, we have a mission, we have an intentionality, and the thing that's stopping us from being able to express that is that we either are not representing it in how we dress, how we speak. We are not putting out the type of content or making the type of connections where we are showing up as the people that we know we are. We're still trying to hide it. We're still trying to downplay it. We're still trying to act like it's not really all that when it is. It's all in alignment. It's all in alignment. Yes. Yes, Adrian. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I am. And like that's what that workshop really unlocked for me. And I couldn't talk about this direction, this clarity, without giving her props. Like, Tamasha, you did your big one with this workshop. Like, your big one. And it was, I mean, I knew something told me that it was going to be a good investment to make. And I went in there very hopeful and expecting great things. Like, I expected something great. But I personally didn't know what that was going to look like. I just knew when I listened to her, I was like, that workshop, I need to be in it. And so I responded. And then when she dropped the link, I made my purchase that next day. I was like, boom, I'm in the workshop. Like, it was all a priority. Like, I'm in the workshop, and because I knew, just listening to her, I was like, whatever it is that she's got brewing, I need some of that. Like, I need some of that. And listening to it and seeing how worthy of the investment it was, y'all. It was amazing. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. So that is what I am. That is where my focus is for the next few months. Honestly, if it goes longer, then it goes longer. But I'm giving myself this mindset of this is the kind of work that I want to be doing currently. I don't know how long this is going to be my rich one, but I know that this is it. And so I need to start talking about it like there's some people that need to hear me. And I need to start talking about it like it's some people that are looking for it that need it because I don't feel this fire for no reason. And one thing that is really exciting to me that I feel you can also take away from this too is how affirming it is and how exciting it is when your intuition is right, when you pick up something from the Holy Spirit and when you experience it, you're like, wow, no, that was it. That was literally the answer to my prayer. When those small decisions lead to something incredible, that's how you know, like, I gotta keep going. I gotta keep moving in this. I gotta keep showing up. Like, I went to that workshop on Friday and she blew my mind with one session, and I need to start moving like I got clarity. I need to start moving like if I know that this is my rich one, I need to trust that. I need to understand and believe that I make good decisions. I make good investments. I have clarity. I have peace in my decisions, and I am going to move in those decisions wholeheartedly. I don't have to go back and forth about it. Like, even when she asked the question, what is your rich one? There was a part of me that almost wanted to kind of like go back and forth, like, oh well, it should be this, right? Like, I was thinking it maybe it's supposed to be the Getting Unshy collective. I love the collective. I love doing that work, but I don't believe that that is my rich one. I don't believe that right now that is what my focus needs to be on. My focus needs to be on these brand style labs. My focus needs to be on doing this work, having these I mean they're going to be a little intense, but having these intense sessions with people where I can show them it doesn't take as much as you think it does to turn your brand around. It doesn't take as much as you think it is to turn your style around. It doesn't take as much as you think it does for your platform to go from 0 to 1,000 to 10,000 to 100,000. It can literally happen like that. But you have to make the decision to be in alignment. And let me tell y'all the thing that really got me feeling good about this. So there is a therapist. Let me find her page so I can say her name correctly. There is a therapist that is currently like shaking up the world right now, because of the things that she's talking about. And I found her when I found her, she was talking about boundaries, and she was talking about boundaries in a way where I had never heard anyone talk about them this way. So she was saying that you don't need boundaries when you don't need boundaries when you have self-trust. And that really like stuck with me because I was like, wait a minute, what you mean you don't need boundaries? And she you'll have to listen to her content for yourself so that you can really understand like the nuance to what she said, because I know even just hearing that, I know that's going to already cause some friction for people. And that's going to probably automatically bump up against some of the things that you think about yourself or the things that you've heard when it comes to therapists. But here is her page. Her name is Raquel, and you may have seen her by this point. When I found her page, y'all, guess how many followers she had? Guess how many? I'm just gonna give y'all a second to guess. I want to see if you can get close. Like when I found her, and she was starting to like she was kind of starting to already get some traction when I found her, which is why I think that I found her. But she's been saying so many different like controversial things. I'm about to find her on Instagram too. Here's her page on Instagram. Where is it at? Ooh, 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 ooh. You see that number? Over 300,000 followers. And when I found her maybe 2 months ago, I'm not exaggerating, maybe 2 months ago on Instagram, she had 2,000 followers. And since those 2 months, she started putting out this content. She has grown exponentially, exponentially. And we all know how frustrating it is to try to grow on Instagram. Like we've all felt that. And so I'm watching how she is quickly, swiftly establishing herself as an authority in this space. And what impressed me the most is that I know that she knew that her message was controversial, but it needed to be said. She had a conviction to say it. I knew that she knew that there were going to be people who are going to say, "Who do you think you are to do this? Who do you think you are to say this? Who do you think you are to put this out there?" Right? And what most importantly got me is that she was using her voice. She was using her voice to speak about something that she had a strong conviction about. And regardless of the people that felt a way about it or disagreed with it or even the people that liked it, I she still showed up and she posted that content. And so I remember seeing it, especially on Instagram, and I remember seeing it, and at first it wasn't getting as much traction on Instagram as it was on TikTok. And so I was like, "Oh, okay." And I'm still liking it, engaging with it because regardless how many followers she had, she messed me up with that post about boundaries. So I was like, I gotta listen to what she's saying now because I have never heard that before. So I'm sitting here and I'm watching and I'm seeing like the likes. There's like not a whole bunch of likes, not a whole bunch of comments. And then all of a sudden, I start seeing more and more of her content. And then I'm seeing her on Instagram and I'm seeing it's getting more and more views. Now her followers are jumping. Now I'm seeing her go on interviews on podcasts where she is now sharing this message, which is also growing her platform exponentially. I mean, I can't even count how many podcasts she's been on in literally these past 2 months. That's how quickly this can happen once you make the decision that I'm going to show up with authority and I'm going to say the things and do the things that I know need to be said and need to be done. And I mean amazed by it, and it really put like something in me that was like it doesn't take as much as we think it does. And I feel like the biggest challenge, the biggest barrier that some of us have is that we keep feeling like we need more. We keep feeling like, oh, I need to get this kind of qualification, this type of degree, this kind of certification, read this book, do this thing, do that. And I'm not saying that there may not be a space or a period where you are cultivating that and figuring out what that perspective is. You're somebody else. That's not who I'm talking to right now. If you're in a space where you're figuring that out and you're finding it, keep living and existing in that space. But for the people who already know you got something that's heavy on you that you have to put out and you're still sitting on it, or you're still struggling with how to say it, how do I position it? How do I put this out there? Something else that I didn't mention before that I was also like picking up on is that her style of creating content was almost kind of like a solo podcast. So, from what I could gather, there was someone asking her questions on the other side of the camera, almost kind of like a documentary, rather, not necessarily like a podcast, but like a documentary. And so she had somebody asking her questions, and then she was responding to those questions. So she was creating content in the way that was the most effective for her, the most natural for her, to just speak and answer and respond to questions instead of trying to be the person who dances and points at the screen. You may not be a dance and point at the screen kind of person. That just may not be your thing. Or maybe it's not as easy for you to create content when you're thinking about it yourself. But if you have somebody asking you the right questions, your content would be much more potent because now you're getting to the point. You're being able to explain it in a way that's already like automatically hitting people right where they're at. And it's showcasing your perspective, your point of view. And I think that also, like, the courage that it takes to share something that you know is not going to be liked by everybody, and being comfortable with the conflict, being comfortable with the controversy, being comfortable with the people who will like it, the people who will be conflicted by it but interested, and the people who are just going to oppose it. Like, you got to be comfortable with the opposition, or be uncomfortable with it, but do it anyway. Like, not letting that be the reason why you don't say what needs to be said. And there are people that aren't necessarily going to be controversial. Like, there are some people that would, like, that's just not their thing. Like, that's just not who they are, and you can still exist and show up in that space. But what I'm saying is that if that is not you, and you know it's not you, but you're feeling like you're still trying to play it safe and rein it in because you don't want to rock the boat gonna have to get rocked, friend. It's gonna have to get rocked. Or it doesn't, but that is going to impact your progress. It's going to impact your growth. So watching her go through that, from what I could see as a viewer, I do not know her personally, but seeing her, watching um this rapid growth, and what looks like an overnight success, but it's something she's been doing for years. She's a licensed therapist, so she's qualified to talk about these things. But watching somebody go through that, and that visibility to increase at such a wild rate, it is it really opened up something in me, unlocked something in me, where it's like, it really don't take as much as we make it. It does not take as much as we try to attribute to it. And so I am on fire, y'all. I am on fire. And I don't have a reason why it would get extinguished. Like, I don't. I know I have everybody has their ups and their downs. I don't always feel excited about it at every point of the day, but I do wake up every day with a conviction and with a determination to do what it is that I know I need to do to get the word out, to share with people, to make the connections, to do the follow-ups, to working on the things on the back end of my business that need to get done so that it flows and it moves efficiently, to continue to tell my clients success stories. That's one thing that is a really big focus for me right now. So if you work with me, you might, I mean, I don't feel like y'all are gonna get sick of me. I think y'all like it when I talk about y'all. Low key, high key. I think y'all like it. But y'all gonna see me talking about y'all, sharing what you're doing, putting you out there even more than myself, because I'm recognizing and accepting that this is the work that I do. These are the transformations that people experience. This is what's happening. This is what we're doing. This is the kind of time that we on. And has been that has been so gratifying and just like electrifying. I feel like when I say electrifying, it reminds me of that song from Greece. Gotta shape up. And my heart is set on you. Sorry, y'all. I went there for a second. I actually did like Greece a lot. That's a that's not related to this. Sorry. I can only be serious for so long. But yeah, I am on fire about it, y'all. So the brand style labs, that's what we on this summer, maybe even into the fall. And the kinds of things that I want to do. This is what I'm expecting to do with my clients. So I've already been creating what I call branded content and like signature content series for my clients. I did this with the Yoni Culture. We're doing another round of the perfume, the perfume reviews. So we're gonna go back out and we're gonna get people's reactions to her perfumes. It was a big success when we did the last one back in November. And so we're gonna run that back and we're gonna do some more content for that for her perfumes. Oh, I'm looking for people who want to start hosting events and Kayla, who want to start hosting events, who want to start being booked for more speaking engagements, whether that is at conferences, summits, at workshops, hosting your own workshops. I'm really interested in working with people who want to create their own as well. So whether that is your own branded content, your own signature series, your own series of events, those are the people that I feel are speaking to me right now. Also people who are content creators or influencers who now need to make the shift into operating more as entrepreneurs, which looks like having your own products and services or having your own events, which you can still kind of fall in that category of people who want to have their own signature event. If you are looking to expand beyond what has already brought you success, those are the people that I'm sensing are gonna be my people. So if that's where you are, if that's what you feel like you're in, like that stage in your life, then I might be the person that you need to help you make that shift, that transition. And the brand style labs will help you to do that. The other group of people that I want to help are the people who have years, and I mean like years of experience, and this can be people who are I imagine them being people who are in like their 40s, 50s, or 60s. Those are like the sweet spots, the sweet decades that I feel like these people fall in, where you have been doing the work for so long, but now the way that you do that work looks different. That looks like entrepreneurship. That looks like maybe even a shift in your business, and you've already been doing one thing one way, but now you are rebranding in a sense. And I think that you'll recognize it as a rebrand, and you're stepping into something that requires for you to be more front facing. Whether you're somebody that's like my mom, who has been an author, she's been writing for years, self-published author who is now making the transition to mentorship, mentoring other authors that need help getting their book out there, who want to be self-published, or maybe even want to figure out what's the best route for them, but you know that you have a book in you. But that's the transition that my mom is making currently into mentorship. So that those types of transitions, those types of moves and shifts are the people that I also feel like need my help as well. So those groups of people, that's who I feel called to. That's who I feel like are my people that need those services, and that's what the brand style lab is going to help you do. Especially if you maybe need to clean up your branding, maybe you need some new brand photos that represent the direction that you're going in now. Maybe it's just been a while since you took some brand photos. You don't even know how to dress for this stuff. You don't even know what you're supposed to look like. That's That's where we come in. Okay. That's where I come in and help you. So all of that, those are the people, those are my people that I'm just feeling something for y'all. So when I figure out who they are, or when we find each other, I'm excited for the work that we're gonna do. And that's it. That's it. Facts, Adrian. So I think I have said it all, y'all. I have said it all. This has been another amazing session, another amazing Wednesday. I will be back next week. I don't have anyone lined up for designer interviews just yet, but I do have somebody, I have a couple of people in mind. So if I'm able to secure them, then we will have another designer interview. If we don't have a designer, honestly, it's going to still be lit. We're going to figure something out to talk about. At this moment, though, I don't know what that's going to be. I don't know just yet. Well, y'all show up and we have a good time either way. And I'm thinking if there is anything else I want y'all to know. Can't think of one. I can't think of one. So yeah, y'all. If any of those services are interesting to you, and the last thing that I do have available that is not the brand style labs are mini strategy sessions. So if you are somebody that falls in the category that I mentioned earlier, that is more in the experimental phase, you don't necessarily know exactly what it looks like maybe you have some ideas, or maybe you have an inkling, or maybe you even have some things that you try that you just want to refine or tweak, then I do also offer mini strategy sessions. That would be a 1 hour session. And we can talk about whatever topic is like the most pressing for you. So whether that's content strategy, whether that's a messaging question, whether that is even talking about how you maybe want to look or start dressing, like what that might look like to position yourself visually in a way that aligns with the right people, then we can have that conversation and I can give you some ideas and some different tips and strategies that you can take away and start to practice and implement and figure out that flow. And then, maybe in the future, you start seeing some traction and some motion and you want to have a full-fledged brand style lab, then you'll be in a good place to work with me and that at that time, because we'll already have a working relationship. So that'll be even better. So wherever you fall in that spectrum, I'm here for you. And aside from that, if you are not in any of those places, but you are curious, you are interested, then make sure you are subscribed. You're following me here, and you're also following me on TikTok. Both of those places, I give a lot of good advice and suggestions, strategies, tips for everything from style to content creation to entrepreneurship. You can also subscribe to my Substack, where I go a little bit deeper into the heart of what it feels like to be a creator, to be an entrepreneur. And I share some of those deeper things, like I mentioned earlier with the $200 service that really should have cost $1,500. I'm being very transparent about that experience and what I learned from it. So if that's something that intrigues you, then make sure you're subscribed. All of those options are free, and you can still get a lot of valuable insight and suggestions from those as well. And last thing that I will say is that we do have our fashion related conversations, even though this one kind of went more business, but y'all know me. But our fashion conversation, designer interviews, what's going on in the fashion world, all things fashion, style advice, all those good things are going to happen on Wednesdays at 12 p.m. ish Eastern Standard Time. So between 12 and 2 p.m., I'll be live during those times here on YouTube. So if you're subscribed, you should get a notification. If you're not, subscribe. And I will see y'all next week. To really pinpoint the correct personality, is that the brand style lab too? Yes. The brand style lab will go through your brand personality, and I'll give you an actual breakdown of your brand personality. Kayla has actually gone through that with me. So if you are curious about that, I'm volunteering her, but she can absolutely decline if she wants to. But you can ask Kayla about that experience. She's done actually she's pretty much experienced all of my services, most of my services. So if you are curious about what it's like to work with me with styling, if you're curious about what it's like to work with me with branding, brand personality, content strategy, she has firsthand experience too. So yeah, we'll definitely pinpoint all of that. There is something that this is like a little more on the feature side than the outcome side, but let me just tell y'all that there is an aspect to what I do with branding where I create a brand profile for you. And so this is kind of like your Bible in a sense. And this is going to tell you everything from your values, your brand personalities, how you dress in terms of the different pieces that you might wear, even like style suggestions and general outfit suggestions, messaging, what's your story, coming up with different brand stories for you to tell, different topics to talk about. All of that stuff is covered inside of the brand style lab. And aside from having actual content that you can post, you'll be able to have a reference point so that you'll never be confused about what you should be doing, what you should be creating next. Like you'll have tons to work with for at least at minimum 90 days. So even after our session together, you'll still feel confident referring back to that. That's also going to be useful for you as your brand grows and expands, because now you'll have something that you can share with your employees, with the people that you partner with or contractors, however your business starts to scale. They'll also know what's up too. So they'll understand your brand ethos, your messaging, who you're trying to attract, what your personality is. How do we make this brand feel like a living thing, even as it expands and becomes more, corporate. So we work through all of that together in the brand style lab. So you'll get all of that information. Yes, exactly. It really is meant to serve as a reference. And so I will when I get the I'm working on getting like my systems and things fine tuned. But it's kind of turning into its own project. I'm working with Chelsea. Actually, I'll show y'all her page real fast. Especially if you're somebody that's like your systems is not systeming at all, then she is the person that you want to go to. Um, so this is Chelsea, creative capacity designer and strategist. That is her title. Is my For some reason my Wi-Fi is not loading her page. There we go. That is her. She is who I'm working with to recreate my business back end. So all of the systems, the flow. We're in the process of getting all that together. So when I have some of those pieces in place, I'm going to do a walkthrough with y'all of what it'll look like to go through this world. And I'm actually really excited about that because whew, I hate talking. I hate systems. I love them and I hate them. Like I love that they exist. I don't like creating them though. And it has been very frustrating. So entrepreneurs, I know y'all know what I'm talking about. So she's been helping me streamline those things and figure out what will be the best fit for me and my beautiful mind. So when that is more established, I'm gonna do a walkthrough and I'm gonna show y'all like literally bar for bar what it looks like to work with me so that you can really put yourself in that space and you get an even better understanding of if this will be a good fit for you. But I think that outside of that, I feel like y'all get what it's like to work with me. But You never know. You can never share too much. So I'll go ahead and I'll go through that walkthrough with y'all when that's all put together. I'm really excited about that. Oh, I'm so excited about that. It's gonna be such a relief to have that together. So yeah, lots of good stuff in the works. When the link for the invite link for actually, I guess I could put that in now, huh, Kayla? I'll also, if you want to participate, if you are in the DMV area, so DC, Maryland, Virginia, if you're in that area and you want to join us for Socially Awkward Hour, I will put that link in the description box as well so that you can join us. And yeah, that's it for real. That's it for real. I think I covered everything. All right, y'all. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you for spending time with me. We got 4 people in here consistently for like at least the last 30 minutes. It's up. Okay. It is up. That is so exciting. And I think that I'm really enjoying just going live on YouTube. Like TikTok don't even know I'm here. Like low key, I'm cheating on TikTok a little bit because they don't even know. They don't even know I'm here. But I I have really enjoyed not having to split my attention. I just don't even want to do it. I don't even want to do it. I don't do it. I told them months ago to follow me. I said subscribe. I warned them. I said if you don't subscribe, you're gonna miss out on some stuff. And if you're okay with missing out, then that's your business. But for me, as for me, mm-mm, it's way too much peace over here. I just don't even want to try. It's giving YouTube is bay. Cause I don't even want to. Mm-mm. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I think that it is so much less going on over here. Yeah, I just it's better. It's better. I'm also like I'm creeping up on 1K. I'm creeping up on 1K. The only thing though, y'all, if I'm being let's like, another transparent moment. Um I don't care as much about the 1K as much as I do about my watch time. And I really want to get my watch time up. Like, I feel like that matters more to me than the thousands subscribers. And I feel like if I focused more on the watch time, that the subscribers will follow. So that's why I haven't really given updates on the subscriber count because it doesn't mean as much to me if they're not watching my content. So that has been what is currently kind of not consuming my thoughts, but it is definitely more interesting to me. And so I don't have a plan in place just yet to increase my watch time. I will mm, I don't know. Like it'll come when it comes, kind of. Like I think that there will be some things that I'll do that are intentional to increase it, but I think right now I'm also just glad that I'm creating in a way that I enjoy. And so that is a good starting point for me at this moment. But for the future, that watch time is definitely going to be something that, you know, kind of comes to mind. And I think that another big reason why to just like YouTube in general is because I have mm, I just haven't been enjoying TikTok as much for the deeper things that I want to talk about, or even just it's hard for me to put it into words right now, but it's something about it that it still feels like it's not like scratching that itch that I need. And so um I do still go live over there, but a lot of times it's me talking about like the different products that I got. Like this is from TikTok shop. I real life like this necklace. It reminds me of this necklace from a TV show that I'm gonna have to find a picture of it and show y'all what I'm talking about, and you'll be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But it reminds me of something else that it made me really want to put it together with this outfit. But um yeah, I think that the way that I show up on TikTok is just different than the way that I show up on YouTube. And so with YouTube, I can kind of like I don't feel like that like I don't have to be as high energy here. I can kind of like let things build um and kind of like have like an ebb and flow, whereas with TikTok it feels like that's more like the boom boom high energy, this answer this question, do this, do that. And I don't necessarily hate that either, but it's not something I always want to do as well. So I'm playing around with it and figuring out, just what it looks like now. But yeah, that's why I'm here and not there. I just don't want to be. I don't want to be. So yeah, y'all, that's it for real. I think I said that like maybe like 15 minutes ago. That's all right. Mm, focus, Jada, focus. I hope that y'all have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you for spending your time with me. I know you could be spending it anywhere, and I do not take it for granted that you chose to hang out here. Y'all be good, stay safe. If there's anything that I've talked about that interests you, make sure you check it out in the description box. And I will see y'all next time. Bye.